You're watching The Whole Living Show on Trajectory TV.
Five years ago, the Power of We Symposium was created to provide a platform for kids from all sectors where they could have a safe and comfortable environment in which to share both their joys and concerns. The Power of We Symposium is proud to have served over 250 kids throughout Romania when we took our mission global back in May of 2023. Now, two teams of amazing volunteers from both the U.S. and Romania embarked on an 8-day Legacy of Hope tour, bringing encouragement and hope to not only the kids of Romania, but also the adults who support them, and also to over 100 kids here in the U.S. who contributed handwritten letters of hope to our Romania mission of 2023. Now, this year, we are proud to provide this opportunity yet again in October, and we are super excited to up our game. New venue, 750 kids this time, and we want to see you there. We're looking forward to meeting you in person at this year's event, which promises, as always, incredible speakers, amazing content, and of course, some of the greatest kids on the planet. So, mark your calendars for October 24th, and we'll see you here in Chicagoland for the Power of We Symposium 2024. This year's theme is Always Together, Never Alone. Tickets are available now on Eventbrite or at powerofwesymposium.com.
Hello, everyone. I was singing on mute. However, welcome back to another episode of The Whole Living Show. So to start off, we have this burning question. So listen, this morning I was on Bathrobe Moments and we were being challenged about the road to the White House. So I wanted to bring this up on here from a different perspective. Wanted to ask the question from a health perspective. Have someone who says, I am riding the fence on who to vote for. In some ways, I feel like one candidate is good for the economy, good for small business owners. And then in other ways, I feel like the other candidate will take care of the rest of the needs of the people when it comes to education and healthcare. There's other things that they've been talking about when it comes to just thinking about how the food prices are going up. So people are considering both sides of these elections that are coming up and trying to decide which candidate to vote for. And you may have some people that are very far left, and you may have some people that are very far right. Which one are you? And you don't have to tell me, right? Because it's not my business. However, if you want to share, please do share. But this person, in thinking about, what they want to do and what side they want to vote for, which candidate they want to vote for. Listen, I'm going to say this to you. When it comes to the health and wellness and well being and legacy of your family, think about what's most important to you. And maybe you list out top 3, top 4, top 5, but what's most important to you? What's going to impact your family and your children? Because our children are our legacy, right? So think about what's going to impact your children, and then also spread that out. What's going to impact your community? We were talking this morning a lot about community. What's going to impact your community? What's going to give the most benefit for your community? Because we're not here just to serve ourselves here. We want transformation, we want impact, but we need to also make sure that we are going out, that as we are learning and as we are growing and as we are transforming, that we are sharing that we are giving that out, that we are impacting society in some way, that we're impacting our children, our families, and our communities and other people's children, so that we can leave a legacy that's going to be impactful and meaningful. As life continues to go on and as things continue to change, because they always will. So I want you to think about that as you go into this year's election. All right. Things have changed so much so far, right? That now we have a new candidate on the Democratic ticket, and the Democratic convention is happening right now. So if you want more information, if you're looking just to see, more about I would say the posture of the candidates, check out the conventions, check out, when they are in your area. I know that they've been visiting, I'm in North Carolina, and the candidates have been visiting North Carolina very recently, because this is a state where they're just not sure, which way it's going to go. So the candidates are heavy here. They've been here and they are supporting, their issues and their initiatives right here in this area. So if they are in your area, go out and find out more and check the posture of, the people that you are potentially looking to vote for. And especially if you're on the fence, take a look, get more information, go research more information, look at their track record, right? In terms of, one was already in office and one has been in politics for a very long time. So take a look at the track records as well before you decide on what you want to do. All right. So I wanted to leave that out there. We want to leave this world healthy as much as we possibly can. So, think about what's important for you and your community. So that's it for that. But also, as we talk about health, as we wait for our beautiful guests to come on, as we talk about health, I wanted to go back and take a look at something that is near and dear to me, because I start to examine what we have in our food, particularly in this country. Many American foods contain additives, preservatives, hormones, harmful chemicals, just to continue the shelf life of a product, or to thicken or fatten that product up, or to make the product bigger, or just to give it color. So I wanted to mention some of these things to you, as you think about how you want to change your health, how you want to change the lives of your family, your immediate family. And as I was talking about where it came to, what candidate you want to choose for this election, but even as you think about, the health of your community, the way you start to spark change is to start to educate and start to share information that you have on things that are harmful for us, so that people can make informed decisions to make changes and really have some real transformation. So I wanted to share some of the things that you can find that are costing us big time, that are sending us to the doctor and to the hospitals. And we want to have medical assistance there for when we absolutely need it, but we also have to do our part. So once you know better, you do better, right? Or you should. Or you should, all right? So the United States has very liberal policies on genetically modified organisms that are more restricted or banned outright in other countries. So there's some quite a few that I want you to look out for. And you all have heard me say this before. Like if you don't know the ingredient, if you don't understand what the ingredient is, and if you look it up and you still don't know what it is, or it's clearly something that is chemically derived, don't buy that particular product. Or if you're just unsure about it, just don't buy that particular product. And I would say, as you are going into your research on things, and as you start to look at ingredients in the food, make sure not only do you understand what it is, but you also understand the effects that it could have on the human body so that you don't consume it if you know that that's not something that you want in your body. So number one on my list, very high on my list because you find it in so many products, is high fructose corn syrup. So while it's not banned in this country, it is banned in other countries for usage in products that are in a bag or in a box. But high fructose corn syrup is something that is just avid across many different products that we have out there. So I wanted you to take a look at that. It's restricted in the UK and in some European countries, being placed under quota limits. So, and it's linked to a variety of ailments like obesity and type 2 diabetes, just to name a couple. So you want to make sure that if you see products with the high fructose corn syrup, if it's a product that you can absolutely avoid, then, remove it if you can from your diet and from your home. And I always say too, like if you don't have it in your house, right, you're not likely to eat it. You're not likely to consume something that you don't have access to, that's not readily available to you. And most likely that's going to be in your home. So the other number two on my list here is farm raised fish that is fed, and I don't want to butcher the name of this, but it's fed astaxanthin. And this could also be naturally found, but it's found in microalgae and highly antioxidant to provide that coral color that you see in salmon, for the most part, in some other fish. But it's a petrochemical, and it's banned for consumption in places like Australia and New Zealand. So it's something that's getting put in salmon in particular to make it look pretty, to make it more attractive to the consumer. So why is it that we are so attracted to the colors? And I'm going to mention this while I'm talking about the colors, because there was social media ad that was put out very recently that talked about, the Fruit Loops cereal, and the fact that it's an American company. They make the Fruit Loops with different chemical color dyes in the United States. And then when it comes to what they send to Canada, they put the natural colors in it. So you have one company making the very same product two different ways for two different countries. So why is it that we, as the consumers in the United States, are so attracted to the color that we're not thinking about, the chemicals that are making up the color that make it, quote unquote, more attractive for the eye visibly, right? But is not attractive to our bodies. Yet, there's a different form of the same cereal that's made with colors that are naturally derived, so if they don't have that brightness to them as you would see in chemical colors. It's not as attractive visibly, but it's healthier. So think about, certain things that are attracting us. So I wanted to mention that, as well as we were talking about what was in the salmon, to turn the salmon to that coral color that makes it attractive. Number 3 on this list is dairy. Any dairy products that have something that's called RBST or RBGH hormones. They are artificial hormones to stimulate milk production. So they are given to our cows to stimulate more production. But these hormones are also banned in Canada and the European Union. So when you think about other countries that are being very conscious of what is allowed to be put in the food because of the effects of these items, we have to think about what we're actually accepting. And oftentimes these things are right there on display for us, right? And we're just not paying attention. So pay attention. Let's look at our food and let's take a look and see what's in there. So quickly, we're going to go through some more of the items. So I wanted to mention the color dyes that I talked about earlier as well. So we have some very prevalent color dyes that you see in our food, which is yellow number 5, yellow number 6, red 40 is a big one. And it's in a lot of different products. A lot of food dyes are in a lot of packaged goods that we have. And these color dyes are warning labels in the European Union, and they are banned in Norway and Austria too, but it's something that we accept here in the United States, and that's what makes our food attractive, right? Visibly attractive, and it gets kids excited, right? You see it in candy, you see it in cereals, you see it in a lot of packaged goods, you see it in a lot of the little cakes and cupcakes and cookies, and a lot of those items have color dyes in them. So we want to stay away from that. So just mentioning a few more as we go down this list, but there are so many, which is why I said to you, we want to make sure that we are taking a look at everything, that if you don't understand what's in your products, don't buy it. So I wanted to mention another one because there's another one that's a big one. It's a whitening agent and what they call a dough conditioner. So as you are considering, the breads that you consume or some of the more starchy products that you consume, there's one called azodicarbonamide, and I'm butchering that name. I am butchering that name, but it is a whitening agent and a dough conditioner. And I will post these on the show page so that you can take a look at some of these items. And there are so many more. I mean, as I was doing some research, I just had a long list, and I wasn't done, right? I definitely wasn't done because there are so many things that are included in our food, particularly our packaged food, that's just unsafe for our bodies. So I want you to just be mindful of that. And remember to take a look at your labels. And listen, I don't work for this company. I utilize this app, right? It's called Yuka. I absolutely love it because it allows you to scan your products from your phone, and it will tell you, it gives the food a rating, and it tells you why it gives it the rating that it gives it. And it comes in colors. We're talking about colors, attractive, right? But it'll tell you if it's green, it'll give it a color and a number. And usually anything from 70 to 100 is usually good to excellent. And then anything below that, you have your fair, which will come in yellow, and then your red, which are things that are dangerous and hazardous. But in every instance on this particular app, as you scan your food, you will see everything that's in it. You can click on it. It'll tell you everything that's in it. It'll tell you why it has that rating, because it gives you, if it's too high in fat, if it has any hazardous chemicals, and it'll even tell you what it does to your body. So I want you to consider this app, and I'm not getting paid for this. I don't work for the company. I'm not an affiliate, anything, but I just want people to be aware. And this is a great tool that you can use in order for you to understand what's in your food. And it just makes it a little bit more alarming too, right? It kind of puts it in your face, and it's not you just thinking, maybe yes, maybe no. Nope, this tells you exactly what it is and why it's hazardous for your body. So I wanted to mention that. I will post those on the show page. But we have a special guest here with us tonight. So I don't want to delay this any further. I want to introduce her, and then I want you to give her a virtual round of applause. Her name is Pattie Godfrey-Sadler. She is the Director of Publishing for the LA Tribune, founder and CEO of New Life Clarity Retreats. Pattie Godfrey-Sadler also has created New Life Clarity Publishing to add to her passion of sharing voices to inspire others for healing. And we're going to be getting into that in just a moment. But she's also a talk show host, creator of Heart Talks, Savvy Retreat Facilitator, Director of Public Relations in the SOAR Foundation, and President and CEO of NLCP. She truly lives a life with passion and has shown that it is possible to create life-changing results in your own life. She offers consulting on a comprehensive level, assisting others to manifest their life vision as an author and influencer to become a reality. She's an expert in life-changing and transformation and transition. She can assist you to declare just where you are going and create it. And that's what we want to get to. So we were talking earlier about affecting communities, families, and communities. So we're going to bring in Pattie. I want you to give her a virtual round of applause. Woo!
Hi. Thank
Hello.
you. Hi. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I love everything that you are doing. But the biggest part of that is, and I know because we spoke, but how set you are on helping people change their life and transform their lives and transition to whatever it is that is fulfilling for them. So
There's a lot there. There's a lot to soak up and all the different things that I do.
Yeah.
But I guess the best way to kind of just, let you know why and how is just to tell you a little bit about something that happened to me and why I even do this at all. About 17, almost 18 years ago, I left a marriage of 20 years that was, it was violent, it was destructive, and there was so much abuse that I got out with my life. And so, having said that, I had a lot of healing to do, and I didn't have anything in my favor at the time except for that I wanted to live, and that I realized that I deserved something better. And so as a result, I left and went to California. I changed my whole life. And in that journey, I decided that I had a story that I wanted to tell. And if I couldn't do anything else, I'd get a job and just those kinds of things and change my life around for something better. But if I couldn't do anything else, then I'd at least share my story, and somebody that might need that story would realize that they were worth it too, and that they would leave that volatile situation, and that they would get healing for themselves so that they could nurture their families and do the things that they deserve to be doing.
Yeah.
So I opened up a home for called Transition to New Life for women coming from incarceration. And I helped them to find jobs and get into their own housing and different things. They were there for a 3-month period of time and started out as a caseworker. I got certified in several different modalities, hypnotherapy and different things that I could do to work with them, to give them tools to heal. And I'm not a doctor or a licensed physician or anything like that, so I'll just say that. But I am certified in many different modalities, and I use them quite often. So I started coaching on the side and working with these women and counseling them, and while I was working a full-time job, and decided to become an author. And I had been going to school. My major was in English and communications, and the book came out. It was The Path Less Traveled, and it's been 15 years since that went out.
Mm-hmm.
And I had some other people want to share their stories. And so it became a passion for me to want others to share their stories and feel safe enough to do that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them were really raw and had been through some tender things. And there's some things you do and don't want to share. And, you just want to make it a safe place to do so.
Sure.
So I started working with other women and helping them to get published and different things like that. And ended up opening up my own publishing house and doing retreats so that I could give healing opportunities for other women. And now I have all these accomplishments, which is great. But my biggest passion is seeing people manifest what they're truly wanting to do. And first of all, they have to find out what those things are.
Yeah.
So I have a program that I work with them through, and we identify through all the 5 areas of life: money, health, wealth, health, wealth, your mind, your body, your spirit,
Sure.
and career, and all these different things. We identify in each of those areas what it is they really, 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 really want by narrowing out and writing and writing and rewriting and shortening until we can actually create it into a space where they can record it to classical music.
Oh,
And then they can meditate to that, so
yeah.
they actually, manifest those things that come. So I have
Yeah.
programs to help people to manifest those things.
Yeah, so I want to take a step back because there's so much
Aw.
there that you said. So let's take a step back first, and because you found the courage to leave your marital situation, for your own safety, for your peace, right, for your joy, for your physical health, right, and mental and emotional health as well, right. So just how did you find the courage to do that, one, and then how would you help someone else figure out the courage to change their situation?
Because of the abuse, I lost my children when they were really young.
Hmm.
And so I went 20 years in this relationship. And I think I just reached a point where I'd had enough. I really missed the woman I was when I was younger.
Mm.
All this time had gone by, and I not only grew tired of it, but I wanted my children in my life. And I knew that in the situation that I was in, that was never going to happen. So because my kids were not, they were not a reason for me to quit. It was, the reason had to be myself. It
Yeah.
had to be that I wanted out and I deserved it and I needed to heal. And those other things, those blessings and wonderful things that, being a mother and having children, and now I have 7 grandchildren and all these wonderful things came because I chose me first.
Yeah.
I loved him however that could look or whatever, but I had to love myself. And you remember when we're younger and they say you have to love yourself before you can love someone. And when we're young, we're like, why isn't love enough? If I love him enough, he'll love me back and it'll be just fine.
Yeah.
But the truth is, we really do have to learn to love ourselves first. And that sometimes happens later in life. Sometimes we're lucky to have it happen earlier. But for me, it was later.
Yeah.
And I realized that I had to take care of me in order to do anything for anyone else.
Yeah. So express like the importance of and the effect of, telling your story. Because it's one thing to have the courage to leave. Now you're going into a whole different dimension when you tell your story, because if it touches just one, right? You always hear that, but even if you affect just one person, is so meaningful. So talk about how you transitioned into.
This is really my passion right here, what you're talking about. We'll discuss too that
Yeah.
the matter is that only you have experienced what you've experienced. Okay. And so only you can tell your story. Now, you don't have to tell your story. It's not mandatory. But if one person, it's really none of our business who hears the story, but let's put it this way.
Mhm.
I put my story out there. There's somebody out there in the world somewhere, someday, either has or hasn't read it already. And it has or will change that one person's life because they could only receive the message from me.
Yeah.
Because they could come heart to heart with what I had to say, the way I said it. That one person nurtures a generation. Okay. So you feed that one person, and it's none of your business if who it is or
Yeah.
why or when. It doesn't have to be, you might never know. But somebody is going to get that seed and they're going to grow and they're going to have a generation that they saved because they saved their lives and they changed their lives for that one reason.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was you. And you don't always get to know that. The second thing is that person now has a story and has some success that they can give their wisdom to someone else. And that ripple effect creates another generation.
Yeah.
So the ripple effect from one person, you're not just healing one person or 5 people, you're healing a generation worth because you're healing a generational curse or problem or something that they needed to change. And women are powerful.
Yeah. And even you're creating awareness too, right? That
Mhm.
affects the generation. Because
Yes.
even if there are, people that come after that person that you've changed, right? Maybe they haven't experienced anything like that, but they won't, right? If they're taking heed to what they're learning from the person that you've now affected, right? So it
Exactly. Yeah,
raises awareness and it raises
exactly.
consciousness, and then it affects a generation that way as well. I love that you said that. We have to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to come back. I want to get into a little bit more about the storytelling, and then I want to talk about your transformational retreats as well, because we know that there is one coming up. So, everyone, I want you to stay tuned. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Imagine a verdant paradise that stands as a convergence of worlds, a living temple of native wilderness, a place where the full potential of inherent human and earth magic can be seen, felt, and understood. A space that attracts the brightest and best of educators on the leading edge. A place of permaculture designed for the benefit of future generations.
All right, everyone, and we are back. We are here with Pattie Godfrey-Sadler, and we've been talking about transformation, having the courage to step out and step away from some of the challenging situations in your life, and then also being able to tell your story after a challenge. So we want to talk a little bit more about that. And I love, what you said about I love when you said it's not your business, right? It's not your business who your story may help. As long as you're putting it out there, it has the potential to impact, you know, who knows how many, right? But then I
Right.
love that you talk about the generations that come after it, even if there's just one, it's not really just one. So I love that thought process, because when you think about sharing that with other people who has a story to tell, who may be, on the fence about telling their story, right? Just the thought of, I could potentially help generations of people, that makes it so significant. It's like, well, I need to really get this out now.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're in it for the money, don't be, because you might not make any money over doing something like that, but you might save a life and a generation. That's my whole mighty message right there.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I love that. And I never thought about books as making money. Even, just reading so many like self-development, self-help books, right? I always thought of it like, this is how you learn, this is how you grow, this is how you absorb the goodness of life, right? It's through a book, picking up a book. So I
And how we contribute too.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I never thought of it as, a money thing, and just, I know people may think of it that way, but it's like, it's so
We
much
should.
bigger.
It is so much bigger.
Yeah,
It's contributing, it's learning, it's making communities, it's teaching. It's just so much.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So talk a little bit more about now how because you're transforming people from different spaces, right? So there's the books, but I also want to get into the retreats and how you transitioned over into that world as well, to help people heal directly, right? This is a more direct approach to helping people heal.
Okay, well, it started about 10 years ago, and a couple of us authors got together and we did a retreat in Ireland. And we had an agent come from New York, and we all got to give our wisdom and work with authors and let them launch their books in a bookstore over there and speak at a space. And it just was really, it was really awesome and exciting to see their energy and, kind of the spaces that they wanted to fill to get healing. And we do yoga and meditations and stuff. And I could see that those things would really help them. And that there was other people in the market or in the world that needed to have experiences more like these, that weren't necessarily authors, But the people, when you have a once in a lifetime experience, you hold that forever.
Yeah.
So you go to another country or you go somewhere and you go to a retreat or an event or an adventure, whatever that is, whatever it looks like, because there's so many out there.
Yeah.
You get something that you will hold on to forever. So what I did was I started doing retreats in Costa Rica, and I do about 5 or 6 of those a year. And those are really about team building, manifesting, overcoming fears, and all kinds of things, to build and be able to go home and be renewed and know exactly where you're going and things like that.
Mhm.
And Costa Rica has been really a wonderful place to do that. And we also do them in Peru, in Machu Picchu. So we have a retreat center that we associate with, and the owner is a really good friend of mine, and he has 45 acres of land where this retreat is.
Wow.
And we go up to Machu Picchu village. There's another village we go to. We can do some work with the indigenous people. We also get to have a shaman come in and make drums with us. And we're going to do breath work and meditation. And we're going to learn about drumming and how that can be healing, the vibrational healing of the earth. And we're really going to just get down to nature, vibration, meditation, and breath.
I love it.
It's going to be just an absolutely amazing experience.
Yeah, and I love that you said get down to nature. I was talking about this even on last week's show. We were mentioning this, but just talking about how we have these natural resources at our exposure, right? That is very healing that we usually don't use, right? And we don't even think about. So I love that you talked about the drums and the vibrational healing, and so effective, right? But a lot of people, and I'll have to be honest, in the past, pre-cancer, I would have told you that things like that was woo-woo, right?
I would have 20 years ago too. I would have too.
Yeah, absolutely. But I know now, I know better. I definitely know better. So I love that. So I wanted to mention one thing too, because very special places where you're having your retreats. How did you choose those very sacred, beautiful places?
Ireland has a very old history, a Celtic history. And there's so many things there you can do, and you can get really up close to nature, with the cliffs of Moher, and you've got the fairy islands, you've got the mountains, the fairy mountains that have fairy houses on them, and just all these really magical places. And when I started that journey, I really wanted to go and test out some different areas. So I went down to Costa Rica and tested that out, and found that I went to a retreat myself so I could experience what was down there, and found that there was limitless possibilities of what I could create for my guests. So when they come with me to Costa Rica, I can just wow them, because there's just limitless things I can do. There's the energy of 5 volcanoes around there. So you have this volcanic action going on in the earth, and you have just all this power and energy that you can heal with. These wonderful activities that we can, and the ocean too, so, and the ocean is really healing too. So we incorporate many activities, mostly gentle hikes, waterfalls, an ocean cruise where they go out on the ocean for the sunset. We incorporate zip lining and overcoming fears and horseback riding, and different things like that. So that it's jam-packed full of things to help you to really come down to earth and get that healing. And then they have massages, they do a glamour shot, all these things that we do.
Yeah, and I love that I don't know if that was intentional or not, but how you took a breath and then you said, come down to earth. It was like a deep breath. And then you said, come down to earth. But oftentimes, right, I know I find myself, especially when I'm doing the shows, right, like we're not breathing enough, right? So I love that you took that pause to breathe and then started to talk about coming down to earth. And I know that you incorporate that, as you mentioned earlier, in your retreats. But something so powerful, right, as breathing, just stopping to take, deep breaths.
Exactly.
So
Go ahead.
I was going to say, talk about, Machu Picchu, because that's coming up.
Okay, so Machu Picchu is a little bit, it's a whole different thing. It's got the same vibe as going to Costa Rica, because it's south of here. You've got the mountains, you've got the culture, but it's more indigenous,
Yeah.
which is really, really incredible, because we will be up close with the indigenous people, and we get to see their dress, and we get to see, a lot of the culture while we're there, and try the food and all those wonderful things. But the purpose of this one is really to see where you're at, stop, do the things that you need to do to heal, get some tools in your tool belt to take home. And you're going to make a drum there, a real drum with a shaman. And the shaman will give us a drum circle and stuff, so you can anchor yourself when you get home. We'll have all kinds of activities and crafts and things that they'll do that will help them, so when they get home, they have things to take home, and they can anchor themselves with the tools that they have from this particular event. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. And you said a powerful word there too. Talk about the importance of anchoring.
Okay, so when we ground ourselves, it's anchoring is grounding ourselves. Like the other night, we had one of the biggest lightning thunderstorms we've had in a long time, and it was just stunning. We went to bed. It was like 10 o'clock at night. The whole family got up. Everyone ran outside, and we just sat on the front porch and watched it, and just it was so exciting. But I put my feet on the ground, and I could feel the energy and I could feel the roar. So in a way, I put my feet down so I could anchor myself in that space.
Yeah.
But when we leave a retreat, we go home and it seems like it's over. But if we have tools to go home with and something to go home and anchor ourselves to that experience. And what I mean by anchoring to that is that you can go home and repeat it for yourself and use that to ground yourself. You don't need someone to walk you through it if you have the tools, and you can go home.
Yeah, I love that too, because all too often, right, we go to these conferences and retreats and they're amazing, right? And you're in the moment. But once the moment is over and you get home and there's the hustle of, whatever is happening in your life, right? Whatever you need to do in your life, that conference retreat is left.
It's left behind.
Yeah.
It's left behind.
Yeah.
So the thing about this one is it's a mindful retreat. So everything that we do will give you tools that you can use just for a little bit of amount of time in a day. Just the biggest thing I can tell you is we need to be more purposeful, more intent in our daily actions, because the world's going so fast. But we give you tools so that you can be more purposeful and more in intention. Set intentions for yourself and manifest.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about that, right? Because I know when it comes to manifesting things, some people believe, some people don't, right? But talk about the importance of, being able to manifest and believing and have faith in that, and how that comes out in spaces like the retreats, right? Because often it's hard to manifest in your bubble, right? Your world.
Yeah, I totally get it. It's really hard. It's like when we're home in the same daily grind all the time.
Yeah,
it's hard to even imagine that we can manifest. And a man should have joy, number one. Number two, we are all divinely created for greatness. Okay. So because we are divinely created for greatness, and I don't care what source you believe in, creator, source, universe, whatever that is, creator and source created us. We are divinely created from something that made us, and they don't make anything that's not perfect.
Yeah.
Perfection. The earth is perfection in itself.
Yeah.
We were made in perfection. And what I mean by being divinely created means that we have a divine purpose, all of us. And we also have divine abilities that each of us are given that others don't have, but they all are given certain talents and tools in their lives that we can give to each other and we can grow from and share, and we can all be whole. Okay. So
Hence the whole living show. Shameless plug there, but yeah.
whole living show. We're divine, our divineness and everybody having these talents that they make it a whole.
Yeah.
So in manifestation, man of joy, but we are creators too. We were meant to, and we were created to be creators.
Yeah.
So when you hear people talk about our mindset, first of all, in our mindset, if we don't believe something, we will definitely do the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever we believe, whether it's negative or positive, is the one that we're gonna go with, and that's it's gonna swirl around us, and that's what we're gonna work with, because that's our belief. So when we tell ourselves certain things, this is why meditation and manifestation is so important, because the messages that we tell ourselves are the messages that we're feeding ourselves and we're creating. So the negativity, we're having negative, and we don't believe in ourselves, and we think life is crap, then it's going to be crap, because our mindset will tell us that, and we'll create that.
Yeah.
We are so divinely created that we will create perfection in that too. And it could be positive or negative.
Yeah.
But you take something and you say, okay, well, I want to manifest a better life. Well, let's break that down. What is a better life to you? Is it being healthy? Is it having financial security? What is your career? What is your spirituality? And what is your state of mind? All these different things. Yeah. You break it down. And when you start telling yourself the positive messages that pertain to the things that you want to create, you start believing them, and your subconscious can trust you.
Yeah.
Because your subconscious trusts you anyway, but it's going to do what you tell it. So when you work your subconscious mind through meditation and with the music, classical music, those things combined give you a place in a situation where your brain can take everything, and it will trust you. So it's going to manifest those positive things. You will make those positive things happen. And I've seen it over and over and over again. So I'm not just making this up.
Yeah. So and I love that. This is stuff that I've been talking about a lot lately, just because it's so real and it's so true. And you started off talking about the divine and source, right? And I always tell people, I was telling my son this last week. I'm like, just think about how intricate the human body is made. There's nothing out there that man has created yet that can compare to what God has given us. And then think about the earth and all that we have. And because we often look at the moon, and I said to him, I'm like, think about all of this. It's like, this was divinely made. So if God did all of this, right?
Right.
When you start talking about manifesting, it's so possible, because all of this was made for us to have at our exposure. So you're able to do all of this through everything that he has given around us. And really, we're not lacking anything internally or externally from what he's given us, right? If you start to connect to the real, to the earth, to nature, to the sun, to the moon, to like all of that sound, like you said, vibration, energy, like all of that is there for our taking and for our good. I'll put it that way.
Yes, for our benefit.
Yes. So I love that you started with that. But I wanted to go a little into, just so people can understand a little bit without giving it away completely, because I know it's part of the retreat. But something interesting that I've never done before is you talked about the modality of using that classical music. Tell us a little bit about that without giving it up completely, because I know it's something that they'll experience on the retreat.
Yeah, so we basically break it down into the financial, career, spiritual, physical, and financial. Did I say? I don't know. There's 5 of them. Anyway, let's just say there's 5 areas in your life that we focus on, and we work on one at a time. And in those, we write down, we work through and we write paragraphs about, how we feel and what we need and different things, so we can flesh it out on paper. And we turn that 5 or 6 paragraphs, and we rewrite it enough times that we have statements that it turns into. And then we go to the next topic and we do that. So we have 5 different meditations. So we take these 5 different things and we do 5 separate meditations.
Mm.
And then, but they are consecutively done so that you can do it. You can do it like in 20 minutes. It's like 2 or 3 minutes for each one. It's 10 minutes long. Okay. So you, every morning and every night, you record your voice on your phone to classical music with these statements that have to do with each topic.
Mm-hmm.
And you meditate to that. Every morning you listen to it with your headphones, and every night before you go to sleep. And you start listening to it when you're driving to work. And then you start, and then you start putting this in your subconscious is what's creating that space. It starts to work on your mind and help you to think more positively. But it also helps to manifest, because that's the part of you. And the classical music, and it's scientifically proven that meditating on these tools and using classical music does something to your brain internally and allows your subconscious to work its magic on your brain.
Wow.
So it's a scientific process. It's not just a meditation. There's more to it than that.
Yeah. Wow. I love that. I love that. I hate that we're getting to the end. I want to be able to share your website so that people know where to go to get the retreat, to register for the retreat. Give us the details on the dates and, maybe some other things that you want to just put out there.
Okay. So the dates are September 8th through the 17th. Let me make sure. Yeah. September 8th through the 17th. We only have 3 or 4 spaces left. Okay. So if you want to jump in, you have to do it now. But let me just tell you, I promise you it will be a life-altering experience, once in a lifetime experience that you will never forget. Mm-hmm. And I promise to over-deliver. So when you show up, you can expect to have everything that you need to come home with all these tools. So you got September 8th to 17th. Go to pattiesadler.com. You can, at the Machu Picchu, there's even a tab there if you need to go, and you can see the other retreats too. But this one is coming up really quick. Only a couple spaces left. If you want to go, don't be someone that just stands at the sideline and says, well, maybe I will. You've got to make a decision, because this one is going to be life-changing. And those who show up are showing up for themselves. They aren't showing up for anybody else. You're not going to do it for me. You're not going to do it for anyone else. Yeah. You're going to do this to show up for yourself. And I promise you it's going to be life-changing for you.
I love it. I love it. So any other like special guests or anything that you have there? I know you said you do these retreats with other people, and I took a look at the website, so I know that there's some special.
Yeah, so when you go to the website, you'll see who's going to be facilitating. There's a Deshay Jenkins and a Daniel Gutierrez, and they are so incredible, and they have so many gifts. And between the 3 of us, we're going to have a videographer there, so you can have an opportunity to be video recorded if you want to share your story or anything like that. But we will be having a videographer there, and we will have a photo shoot. We'll do all kinds of stuff. Wow. So if you're going to go, now's the time.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And what a beautiful place to go, right? And to connect with the indigenous people. And, there's something very sacred and powerful about places like that, right? Where there's so much history. And where I know the people there practice, living off of the land a lot more than we do right here in the United States. Yeah. Yeah. So I love that. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for your retreat. Listen, everyone out there from the Whole Living Show, do not hesitate. If you know that you need change, you need transformation, you want to be able to have tools with you, because this is a key part too. Not only to go on the retreat, go to the retreat, experience everything that you need to experience for life-changing transformation, but you also get to come back home with tools that are going to allow you to connect to everything that you've done on the retreat, so that you can continue to have that fulfillment in your life each and every day. I love it. Pattie, I thank you so much for being here. At any time that you want to come back, or at any time that you are doing another retreat, please come. We want people to have an opportunity to be able to have some exposure to your retreats in order for them to change. And I know a lot of people out there, you're looking for change. You are longing for change. And we're giving it to you right here. This is a way for you to do it.
I promise you it will be life-changing.
Absolutely. Go to pattiesadler.com, click on Machu Picchu for this current retreat, and then you can also see the other retreats included on her website as well. We love you all out there. We thank you. Please make sure that you join us here on The Whole Living Show next week at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. Take care, and we will see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.